and scroll over to the credit. That's a credit. That's a credit. It's going to go up in the credit direction. Put us back in balance. No effect on net income. So then we're going to go to 1216. Sent a reminder to the company to pay the fee for services rendered on November 8th. So we're sending out, we're saying, hey, could you pay us? Now, notice that we already earned the revenue. We haven't received the cash, so this is kind of a tricky one. There's no journal entry at this time, but we're just sending out reminders. That's something that would commonly be done within the business setting to try to collect, obviously, on our receivables. Okay, 1220. Completed a project for Lou Corporation and received $6,325. Okay, so is cash affected? Yeah, we received cash. Cash is a debit balance. We're going to make cash go up by doing the same thing to it, which in this case would be another debit. So cash is going up, 6320. We're going to have to credit something. What are we going to credit? Why did they pay us cash? Because we did work. When did we do work? Now. So we received cash because we earned the revenue. Now the credit's going to go to revenue in this case. Notice it's in order. Assets, then liabilities, owner's equity, revenue. Is it here on the income statement under the owner's equity section? The revenue account has a credit balance, and we're going to credit it again. Note, revenue only goes up. Revenue does not go down. If we do work, we get paid, or we don't get paid maybe, but we don't get negative paid. We have expenses incurred in the work, but revenue itself will go up. Net income can go down, but revenue generally goes up. So there we have that, and now we're going to post this out. So I'm going to double click on the cash. I'm going to go to the end of it, go plus, put your cursor on the debit and enter. Cash goes up, and then we're going to go to the revenue account in cell M20 equals, and go down here to the credit. That's a credit, that's a credit. They're the same like things, therefore that's going to make the credit go up here, put us back in balance here. Net income will be affected in this case, it will go up. So we got more revenue, cash went and bringing the net income up. So then we're going to go to 1228. Received 3007 cash from Gomez on its receivable. Is cash affected? Yeah, we received cash. Cash is debit balance. We need to make it go up. How do we make something go up? We do the same thing to it, which in this case would be another debit. We're going to debit the cash. And in this case, we did work, but we did it in the past. Therefore, we have already recognized the revenue in the past. We're not going to credit revenue. We've already credited revenue. What we're going to do now is credit the receivable, meaning someone owed us money. They owed us 8768, multiple people most likely, and now they have paid us, and therefore this has to go down. How do we make something go down? We do the opposite thing to it, which in this case would be a credit. So the amount being 37 and a credit of 37. So if we post this, then let's see what happens. I'm going to double click and go to the end of this. I know there's a lot in there, but notice we're just posting the cash accounts. We're going to go to the end plus, and then we're going to click on the cash here, and there all the cash accounts are reflected. If we get out of balance, notice we can use these indicators once again to see what is in there. We can also double click and see the highlight in there. If you want to know where these are at, they're in the data group, and they are, sorry, in the formulas group. I always do in the formula auditing section right here. So those can be useful. Okay. Now we're going to post the receivable. So I'm going to double click on the receivable, go to the end of it, plus, here's the credit. This is a debit, that's a credit. It's going to make receivable go down, and that'll put us back in balance. No effect on net income. So now I'm going to unhide these cells. Remember, we hid these cells. We have A, B, C, D, J, and it doesn't go along there. So we're going to put our cursor on the D, left click, and then drag to the K, unclick, right click on the selected cell, and unhide. And then if you want, you can hide these. We don't really need these here, so I'm going to put my cursor on like the E, so it looks like that. Scroll over, right click on the selected, and hide. Okay, so then we're moving to the 1229, which says reimburse SRIVE for business automobile mileage for 600 miles at 32 cents a mile. Okay, so is cash affected? In this case, yes. So what's happening is we're paying the owner for the mileage that was used out of the personal account. So we're taking it out of the business account and paying it basically to the personal account. So the business account is going down. So cash is a debit balance. We're going to make it go down by doing the opposite thing to it, which in this case would be a credit of, I'm going to put a negative and do this calculation of 600 miles times 0.32. 32 cents means we're crediting $192. We're going to have to debit something 192. And if we look down here, we see in the expenses areas, we see a mileage expense. Now, if it was me, I would just call it auto expense, but we got it called mileage expense. So anyways, all the expenses have debit balances here. They only go up, and we're going to make it go up by doing the same thing to it, which is another debit, which we already knew because we had the credit to cash here. So let's post this out and see what happens. And I'm going to post the cash first, even though it's on the bottom. Double click it on cash, going to the end of it, plus, and then going to the credit and cash and enter. Then I'm going to scroll down to the mileage down here in cell M28 and N equals, and go up to the mileage here, the debit, that's a debit, that's a debit, that's going to make the debits go up, put us back in balance, bring net income down. And remember, net income, how's it calculated? Income, revenue, minus expenses. The credits minus the debits, meaning the credits are going to win, hopefully, if we have income. Okay, so then we have 1231. And the owner withdrew 1,300 cash from the company for personal use. Okay, so is cash affected? Yes, the owner took it out, therefore the cash is going to go down. How do we make something go down? We do the opposite thing to it, which in this case would be a credit to cash of 1300. We're going to debit something. What are we going to debit? Well, who took it out? The owner. So we're going to go to